Well, it's funny what kind of people are attracted to. You know, I'm just trying to keep the main thing. The main thing is that's basketball, trying to win games, sticking up for my teammates.
Making it known, like if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it.
Yeah, you know, I think that's just who I am. It's my personality.
What if the biggest play of Caitlin Clark's career wasn't a buzzer beater or a record-breaking three? What if the move that changed everything didn't happen on the court, but in a quiet room with no cameras rolling, no fans cheering, and no headlines prepared? In a league where attention is everything, Caitlin Clark made a move that stunned her team, blindsided Nike, and shook the foundation of the WNBA. It wasn't about power, it was about loyalty. And what happened next might just be the most unselfish flex in sports history. If you're into real stories that go beyond the scoreboard, make sure to like this video and hit subscribe. We've got more WNBA shockers coming your way. Before she ever stepped into a WNBA arena, Caitlin Clark was already a walking headline. From draining logo range threes at Iowa to drawing comparisons to Steph Curry, her rise wasn't just fast, it was unstoppable. She didn't just break records, she obliterated them. And as soon as she turned pro, the numbers followed. Sold out arenas, record viewership, and the kind of jersey sales that even NBA stars would envy. Then came the deal.
Top WNBA pick, Caitlin Clark. Her first pro game, 10 days away. But even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
Nike didn't just sign a rookie, they bet on a phenomenon. A reported 8-year, $28 million contract, easily the most lucrative endorsement in WNBA history. To put it in perspective, that number eclipses what many seasoned NBA vets are earning in shoe money. She was barely a month into her rookie season, but as the cameras rolled and the press releases flew, Caitlin Clark was already thinking bigger than her own name on a sneaker. Most people thought it was just another Nike rollout. Photo ops, some press, maybe a teaser for Caitlin's upcoming signature shoe. Nothing special, just business.
Well, Caitlin Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
Sophie Cunningham thought the same. Clark had invited her to what sounded like a chill event in Indianapolis. A few teammates, some media, maybe a hype video. But when the lights dimmed and the screen lit up, everything shifted. The film wasn't just about Caitlin's rise, it was a full-blown tribute. From grainy footage of her Iowa days, to the chaotic welcome she got in the WNBA, the fouls that weren't called, the pressure, the noise. It was raw, real. Then came the jersey, gold-stitched, custom-made, the kind only legends get. Everyone expected her to slip it on, pose for cameras, and ride the wave. But Caitlin did something nobody saw coming. She turned to Sophie, held out the jersey, and said, "This isn't just for me. This is for every woman who shows up, fights hard, and protects her team." No big speech, no flashy display, just that one sentence, and the entire room froze.
This is their best record in over 10 years.
Real quick, drop a comment below. Who's the most underrated teammate in sports history? We might feature your answer in our next video, but that wasn't even the biggest surprise of the night.
This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game in the WNBA. And then also, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game had 3.4 million viewers, and that's the most watched WNBA.
In a league packed with talent, attitude, and hungry rookies, why did Caitlin Clark, arguably the most marketable name in women's basketball, choose Sophie Cunningham to share her moment? Here's the thing, Caitlin didn't just walk into the WNBA. She stormed in. With her came pressure, headlines, and a target on her back. Every game, the hits got harder. Every step she took past the arc, someone was waiting to knock her off balance. The league was sending a message. Welcome to the pros. Let's see if you last. And while critics kept their cameras rolling, Sophie Cunningham kept her feet planted, literally.
And it's when it comes to viewership, when it comes to jersey sales, when it comes to merch sales, it's going to be the biggest that we have seen.
She became the muscle, the presence, the one player who stepped into the chaos and said, "Nah, not today." Whether it was taking hard fouls, clapping back at cheap shots, or staring down opponents after someone tried to rattle Caitlin, Sophie was there every time. She wasn't chasing headlines. She was chasing respect. While some teammates watched from a distance, Sophie took the hits. So Clark didn't have to, and she didn't ask for credit, didn't run to the media. She just showed up over and over again, like the kind of teammate most stars don't get to have. So yeah, when Clark had the chance to cash in, she didn't just think about brand legacy, she thought about loyalty. And Sophie, she'd already earned that 10 times over. But Caitlin didn't stop at a gesture. What she did next flipped the entire playbook on athlete endorsements.
Caitlin Clark, currently the face of the WNBA, Yes.
A gold-stitched jersey? That's meaningful. A heartfelt speech? That's powerful. But a contract? That's something else entirely. As the crowd was still processing Clark's mic drop moment, she reached into a display case and pulled out a custom shoebox. On the outside, Indioso, player number, but here's the real twist. Tucked inside that box wasn't just a pair of shoes, it was a cont. A leggy Caitlin nicknagged Sophie's name into her own deal. Quietly, strategically. No hype team, no leak to the press. It wasn't a cosign, it wasn't a shout out.
Again, we don't know how bad it is.
It was a business move. This had never been done before. Not in the WNBA, not in the NBA, not by any rookie in any league. A top-tier athlete signing their own deal and using that leverage to bring another player with them? That's a blueprint we've never seen. And that wasn't just about sneakers. It was a signal. Because in a sport where endorsements are rare and even the best players hustle for attention, Clark just blew the doors open and let someone else walk through with her.
People view Caitlin Clark, and whether people view that the WNBA needs to protect Caitlin Clark, the golden goose of a league, as which she is being called.
At first, it felt like just a moment. One jersey, one pair of sneakers, one shocked teammate. But inside the locker room, it hit different. Whispers started turning into conversations. Players looked at each other like, wait, we can do that? Alyssa Thomas, a veteran who's seen everything this league has to offer, was overheard telling Fever staffers, she just gave Sophie the kind of shine most of us never get in our whole careers, and she didn't even blink. The message was loud and clear. Loyalty is loud, even when it's quiet. You could feel it. The rookies walked a little taller. The vets looked at Clark differently, not just as a stats machine, but as someone who understood power in a way few ever do. And when that locker room chemistry changes, so does the game.
Not blame Sophie at all. Like, I have her back.
Merch started flying off shelves. Fans who had never even heard of Sophie Cunningham were suddenly looking her up. Her social media exploded. Interviews, podcasts, sponsorships. Nike wasn't just selling a shoe, they were selling a story, one that fans could believe in, and it didn't stop there. League executives took notice. Marketing departments started asking questions. Other athletes, men and women, began talking about how to use leverage not just for money, but for impact. Because what Caitlin Clark had done was more than generous. It was strategic. In a league that still fights for visibility, where pay gaps and media silence are a daily battle, Clark's move didn't just change Sophie's career. It challenged the entire system. But this wasn't the end of the story. In fact, Caitlin had one more surprise up her sleeve.
So we know the new Caitlin Clark Nike shoes came out, and they sold out. It was rumored that 13,000 pairs of Caitlin Clark's new Nike basketball sneakers were being sold on June 30th.
This wasn't just about shoes or a contract. This was a blueprint. For decades, rising stars have been told the same thing. Focus on yourself, build your brand, protect your image. Loyalty? That's optional, and honestly, risky. But Caitlin Clark, just months into her rookie season, flipped that thinking on its head. She didn't wait for her moment to come. She made it. And when it did, she didn't stand alone. She brought someone with her. The phrase, "If you ride for me, I'll ride for you," hit the league like a thunderclap. Quiet moves that carried big weight. No PR spin, no dramatic rollout, just action. Clark's decision to include Sophie in the deal wasn't sentimental. It was symbolic. She saw the WNBA for what it is. A league built on sisterhood, struggle, and players who've had to fight for every inch of respect. She didn't just acknowledge that history.
Is going to change. And not much is going to change until there's literally a shift in how they view the WNBA, how they view good basketball on the court.
She added to it. And for players watching from the sidelines, it sparked something. Conversations about what it really means to lead. Not by taking more, but by sharing power, by pulling others forward. Because in women's sports, the currency isn't just talent, it's trust. And Caitlin just made that the most valuable asset in the room. Just when you thought the story had peaked, Clark revealed something else. Something way bigger than shoes, highlights, or even Sophie.
Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million.
When the cameras cut off and the headlines cooled down, Caitlin Clark didn't go quiet. She got to work, because while everyone was still buzzing about the $28 million deal, the sold-out sneakers, and the viral Sophie moment, Clark had already started laying the foundation for something deeper, a mentorship program for young girls in underserved communities. Not just a one-time clinic, not a feel-good photo op, a full-blown grassroots system built for longevity.
Her ability to step up in big moments. When the bright lights are on, Caitlin Clark is also on.
Access to training, real gear drops, indoor court time, clinics led by WNBA players, including Caitlin herself, and of course, Sophie. These aren't just run-through drills or branded events. These are sessions built around confidence, resilience, and showing girls that the path to greatness isn't limited by zip code. She's investing in the next generation the same way she invested in her teammate, with intention. And here's the kicker. She didn't announce it at a press conference. She didn't slap her name on a banner and call it a day. She built it quietly, behind the scenes. Because for Clark, the spotlight has never been the goal. It's just a tool, one that she's now pointing directly at the future. So while some athletes chase endorsements to fuel their lifestyle, Caitlin Clark is using hers to fuel a movement on the court, in the locker room, and now in the lives of girls who never thought they'd be seen. And still, she wasn't done.
Caitlin Clark running the show. Caitlin Clark running the offense, being the innovator of offense, the distributor of offense for the NBA.
For all the stats, headlines, and hype, Caitlin Clark's greatest play might never show up in a box score. It's not the 30-point games, not the record-breaking contract, not even the logo threes that turned arenas upside down. It's this, the decision to look across the biggest table of her life with a billion-dollar brand waiting for her signature and saying, I'm not signing unless she's coming with me. Who does that? Rookies don't move like that. Stars don't give up leverage like that. Athletes aren't taught to think like that. But Caitlin Clark? She rewrote the rules.
You don't really get to be a dog and get to that platform where you get to bring a national title, the first one back to LSU, without having that type of mentality, that chip on your shoulder. And I feel like we have to let these young women be unapologetically themselves.
She didn't make noise with her ego. She made history with her loyalty. And that, more than any stat line, is what made Nike say yes. They weren't just buying a jump shot, they were investing in a story that moves people. Because sisterhood sells. Loyalty sells, and authenticity, that's the rarest currency in sports today. Now every young girl watching doesn't just see a star. They see a leader who shares the shine. Every teammate who's ever felt overlooked sees what it means to be valued. And every future rookie, they've got a blueprint. So when the sneaker drops, and the ads roll out, and the Sophie PEs hit the shelves, remember this, the real win wasn't in the deal, it was in the decision. If this story moved you, even a little, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and tell us in the comments who's someone in your life that's always shown up for you. This isn't just sports, this is something bigger.